Hey, be a squid and subscribe to my mediocrity. How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be playing some more Warframe, and if you're watching this video on Sunday, then yeah, I'm out of town, so when I get back, I will be doing the announcement for the Mesa Prime. It's Xbox only, unfortunately, because I'm a pleb, but when I get back after the 25th, I will announce that. But we're going to have some low-effort content over the next week. It's going to be builds around Warframe's guns, that sort of situation, and when I get back, I'll start working on some more interesting stuff, but I just kind of have to stockpile, which I'm doing all this on fucking Saturday, and I'm leaving tomorrow, so this is gonna be a fun day. Anyway, all you gotta do to enter the Mesa Prime giveaway, just leave a comment down below and be subscribed and like the video, and I'll go ahead and pick from the comment section on who wins the Mesa Prime. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the Mesa Prime build. So as far as my Mesa Prime build goes, it's very bare bones, and the reason it's that way is because I plan on Forma, using some Forma on her later on to try and go a little bit further than what this is, because this will only take you so far. There's nothing in particularly wrong with this build. You get a lot of balance with this, and there's nothing in the negative that is going to just be detrimental to you. It's kind of this all-around type build, so this is, in my personal opinion, a decent enough build for you to run, whether you're going on like kind of a little bit into the end game content, high level area, and definitely you'll be able to run stuff like Hydron and Sanctuary Onslaught and stuff like that. It's whenever you start fighting the insanely armored bullet spongy enemies like the Bombards is where you're going to notice a bit of an issue, which is going to come down to your Regulators being modded a bit differently, but we'll get into that in a different video. Now, one thing I want to touch on really quick is the aura mods, because I feel like this is where she just can be a bit complicated, where you can do quite a few different things. Personally, I switch between Rifle Amp and Steel Charge because the Redeemer is very dominant right now in terms of just one of the craziest melee weapons, so a Steel Charge is definitely something I keep track of, and Rifle Amp, I have this on at the moment because I am using the Baza a lot, and it's one of my favorite rifles at the moment, but I'll get into that in a separate video as well, so that's why I'm running Rifle Amp. But if you want something like Corrosive Projection or Energy Siphon just for sustain or shred, you can Forma that for if you want to. I personally don't really care, it's fine, I work around it, but if you care to do that, then you can roll with that if you want to. Now, I know some people might be using like the secondary like pistol amp or whatever you want to call it. I forgot what that mod's called, but personally I think her passive just isn't that worth it to me in terms to justify using that. Like, yeah, you get more, I guess, DPS if you're running dual wield weapons because they shoot faster, but I use the rifles way too much, so I don't necessarily know I care to use that, at least in my build, because it's just preferential, so that's kind of up to you. Now, as for our Regulators, we are just running, once again, bare bones stuff. We don't even have the final slot in there, but this is kind of what I'm running. I have the Corrosive on because I was just, messing around with Grenier and stuff before I came here. So this is okay. You can swap this around. Personally, I do probably a little bit more crit than this. It just makes more sense. The reason I just have Target Cracker on there, I just put that on there for the fuck of it, but definitely you're going to want a bit more crit. So whenever you do get to formating this, which I'll go over a Forma build later on whenever I actually pour Forma into this, but for now I would take off Target Cracker and actually put on like one of the other, like the Pistol Gambit, for example. This will give you that 55% crit chance, and then once you start to Forma, you can start to work on a bit more of a crit build rather than this. But for right now, just raw damage, just for the low level stuff and just getting through the main story or whatever it is that you're doing that's not uber endgame, it will be more than enough just to kind of like force your way through the game. So I'm gonna go ahead and summon a Bombard real quick that's just level 110, and this is where you're going to notice that damage fall off, is whenever you're in the super high level areas and you're like, ah shit, it's just like, you see, it's not really doing it, and it's taken a lot to really shred him down. So if you're trying to do high level content, this is going to be the build that you're gonna want to steer clear of, just just because you're not going to have the damage to just plow through everything. See, even with all these like bombards here, like you can kill all of them if they're standing still, but just to try and shred them all at a singular time, it just doesn't work. You just don't have the damage. So in terms of a bare bones build, this is mainly for missions that are not for 110. If you're trying to do an endurance run, you're definitely only going to be able to probably rock out till maybe what I'd say around maybe an hour, and then you're gonna have to peace out. Now if we just kind of use weaker enemies that don't have necessarily as heavy armor, like some corrupted lancers which only have like 250 armor, these you'll be able to shred through these just as easily. All you gotta do is just spray and pray and you'll be able to just mow those down. But the bombards and the machine gunners, those are going to be your main issues that you're going to want to steer clear of, or at least focus them down a lot easier. If you have a good team with some buffs, then you're going to just do fine. Really, you're going to be fine. But anything of the little guys, you'll be able to plow through them as easy as just fucking 1 2 3. You just boom boom boom, just all that fucking quick damage, and your efficiency is fantastic, mind you. Like you can start mowing for just a solid while before things get crazy. But that's gonna be it for Mesa Prime. Pretty simplistic build, nothing too fantastic. I'm gonna do an updated one later whenever I pour some Forma into her to make her just absolutely god tier in those higher level areas. But for the most part, you'll be able to get through 90% of the game no problem with this build. Not to mention you'll be able to still handle some higher level stuff. You'll just have to be a little careful when it comes to like certain enemy types. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.